What's up, guys? Wes McNair here again from The Living Perspective, here to bring you some more insights into metaphysical science. Today I want to talk a little bit about what spirituality really means, a little bit about some of our famous spiritual leaders like Jesus and Buddha. So why am I out of focus here? It's kind of weird. Alright, so the first thing I want to talk about is Jesus. Okay, and the first thing I want to start off by saying is that I 100% believe that Jesus was a real person and that he did some amazing things. The things that we're going to be kind of arguing today is that Jesus actually was teaching reincarnation and that karma existed. And the real reason why he was crucified is because he was going against what the Roman Catholic priests were teaching at the time. So let's just go ahead and begin. So, first of all, there are 20 years of Jesus' life that are missing from our Bible. And where can we find those? Well, it turns out that the Gnostic Bible actually contains those 20 years of Jesus' life, and according to the Gnostic Bible, Jesus spent those 20 years traveling to Tibet, Nepal, and India, and practicing with all of the other master spiritual leaders, meditators, yogis, Buddhists, Hindus, all of them. Let's just agree that there has to be a unified understanding. There has to be a unified spiritual truth. There can't be subjective truth. There can't be more than one God, right? So, in the Gnostic Bible, it talks about Jesus actually going and practicing meditation and yoga with all of these other spiritual leaders at the time, and then returning at age 33 to teach his message. Now, a couple of the things that were misinterpreted from the Bible are a couple words, actually 3 words in total. The words aeon, the word Gehenna, big words, because when Jesus was talking about an aeon of Gehenna, we've interpreted that to mean an eternity of hell, when in reality it meant a cycle of burning your trash. The word aeon means cycle, and the word Gehenna was the place where everyone would go burn their garbage. So, in reality, Jesus was talking about a cycle of burning your karma in the afterlife, not an eternity of hell. Okay, so I personally believe, and I'll add some more information to support this and give this more credibility. For example, the Quran, and I haven't been able to verify this, maybe one of you can do that, but I heard that the Quran was actually written by the Pope about 300 years ago. If that's true, that means that the Bible and the Quran were both written from the same source. And it's a fact that the Vatican and the Pope control the interpretations of these texts. So, if that's true, why would you have 2 ancient sacred texts that are completely dogmatic against each other? You know, the Islams. And even though Jesus is actually mentioned 25 times in the Quran, whereas Muhammad is only mentioned 4 times, and Jesus was doing all these amazing miracles. So why do they worship Muhammad? Well, there's actually a new religion emerging from the Islamic religion, which is called Chrislam, which is Islamic people actually converting to Christianity because they can see in their own text that he was obviously the greater prophet. So, you know, maybe they still worship Muhammad in hopes of getting 72 virgins, or, you know, whatever the story is, you know, and there's a lot of dogma and traditions and, you know, how they treat women and all this kind of thing. So, what I'm trying to get at here is the Pope, if the Pope really did control the interpretations of both of these texts, these 2 texts being the 2 most dogmatic religious-wise in the world, the Bible and the Quran are the reason why we have had so much war. If you look at, one of the reasons why we've been so okay with war is because we read the Old Testament, and in the Old Testament, Yahweh was an angry, jealous God who wanted to be feared, by the way. Doesn't sound like a very positive being. And he killed hundreds of thousands of Palestinians because they were the son of the devil. So when we subconsciously, we go to church, we think we're good people, and then we hear that, we're airstriking these other countries like Iran and Syria, and we don't feel any compassion towards them because what are we told? We're told, well, they don't believe in Jesus. So not believing in Jesus, what is that? That makes you the son of the devil, and it makes you able to be killed. And according to God, that's cool. According to the Old Testament God, that's cool. So I actually believe, from my research, and by the way, I have a bachelor's in metaphysical science, I believe that the Vatican intentionally manipulated these texts to create dogma in order to allow for things like war to take place. It is the divide and conquer tactic that they're using in so many different categories of divide and conquer. I mean, they're doing gender, skin color, sexual preference, religion. It's all and sports teams. The list goes on and on. It's all a divide and conquer tactic. So I think that religion was actually the origin of the control. I think religion was a big, huge origin of how they control people with fear and the origin of dogma. So again, let's agree the fact it only makes sense that there's one truth. It only makes sense that there is one spiritual truth. So if we had to look at a religion, what would we say is the most accurate? If I had to choose a so-called religion, I would go with Buddhism. The reason why I would go with Buddhism is because Buddhism never actually considered itself a spiritual practice, or Buddhism never actually considered itself a religion. Buddhism is a practice of mindfulness. And being mindful of what? Well, to be Buddha, you have to realize that you are the one consciousness that exists, the one consciousness that created the universe. You realize that you are actually one with that consciousness, that is your consciousness, and you are just an individual portion of that awareness. And so, what did Jesus say? Jesus said, I am God. All right, and Jesus was talked about in many other ancient texts. It's talked about in the Book of Enoch, Dead Sea Scrolls. So Jesus was definitely a very powerful prophet. But what did Jesus say? He said, I am God. Okay? A Buddha, all a Buddha is someone who's realized that they are God. Okay? And it's not coming from any egotistical perspective here. I'm not saying, oh, I'm God. I have all the great power over everyone else. No. It's actually the total opposite. You actually have to forget about your ego, forget about your individual personality, and become one with everything. And so I think Jesus was a Buddha.